Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Tatted Rev the Chosen One. My name is Sadia. If you saw my videos before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. You can follow me on Instagram at Tatted Rev 1913 or Facebook under my name, Sadia Alfor. If you hear whimpering for some reason, it's because I have a dog. I don't know, he's just acting weird. But before I go into my topic, I want to say thank you to those who like, share, and subscribed to my channel and shared my videos. Whether I went to college with you, high school with you, or you're a complete stranger, I do read the comments under my videos just because I want to know what you guys think. And for those who left comments saying that the messages that the Lord allowed me to deliver spoke to you, thank you, because it keeps me humble, but also give me reassurance that I am listening to the messages of the Holy Spirit. And I'm so happy that they're blessing you all. So please continue to comment and let me know what you think. Excuse the scarf, but honey, I need my braids done. And I usually go home to my hometown, which is Philly. I live in DC. And we've been having like a travel restriction due to COVID. So I'm unable to travel home to get my hair braided. So I literally pray about everything. So I'm going to pray that I find a salon in DC that I can get my hair done since, I can't go home. But anyway, let's jump into it. I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people always ask me, I did share, I want to say my first video, that I've been abstinent since, let's just say I'm going on 5 years. It's been a long time. It'll be 5 years. Spanky, please sit down. It'll be 5 years in March. So a lot of people ask me how do you not have sex? Why aren't you having sex, and how are you not having sex? So the first reason on why I'm not having sex is because, one, I felt that God told me, once I started praying, like I said, I've always felt that I was called to be someone's wife and a mom before I even answered the call to clergy. But I want to say both are reasons why. Definitely clergy is something that I take seriously, being a minister and being a spiritual leader, that I don't feel that I should not preach certain practices to God's followers if I'm not actually practicing what I preach, literally. So I can't say how you use your body as a sacrifice, or God is a sacred, sex is a sacred, act between a husband and a wife, and, is blessed by God, if I'm not doing those things. So I feel as though, and I share this with people, if you're in clergy, seriously called, because let's be clear, not everybody who's in seminary or in clergy are there for the right reasons. Okay, it's a lot of perks for being a pastor. So if you're genuinely there to serve and to preach the gospel and the good news of God, you have to be in alignment with it. And also, even if you're not, but you're just praying for a kingdom marriage, you're praying for the man that God has for you, in my case, or you're praying for if you're a man, you're praying for the woman God has for you. Oftentimes, God will call you to a season of abstinence to prepare you for what you're praying for. And you got to also know, too, that not everybody should have access to you. And I do believe in soul ties. When you have sex with someone, you take on everything that they're going through. So you need to be mindful of who you connect with sexually, especially as women, since we're the receivers. I think it's intensified on our end alone. But again, I feel like God will call you to a season of abstinence if you're praying for, let's just stick to a kingdom marriage. Let me going to go in clergy. If you're praying for a kingdom marriage, one, he has to work on you. Any childhood trauma, any relationship trauma, even your flaws. Like, you're not going to be perfect, but I do feel that the person God has for you, you guys will be perfect for each other. And you will accept and embrace each other's imperfections. So oftentimes, whether you're a man or a woman, I do feel that God will call you to a season of abstinence just so he can work on your heart and clear you of, again, those soul ties, those traumas. And that takes years to change. I want to say what helped me be abstinent so long was definitely, I'm not operating in my own strength. It was definitely God. Because like I said, you have to be realistic about yourself. Let's just say my best friend, just so you can get an idea of who I was back in the day. We often laugh about, because every time she sees Megan Thee Stallion, she was like, yo, every time I see this girl, I remember you in college. So that's kind of how I was. But again, I was somebody who, very sexual, very highly sexual. I really like to have sex, especially when I was in relationships. Any man would tell you, like, I was all over them. Like, I'm really affectionate. I don't do a lot of PDA, but like behind closed doors, I'm really aggressive as a woman. And I'm just really, like I said, I really, really like to have sex. So but I've always felt a call to abstain, even before it was time. And that's why I said the spirit knows things that the mind don't understand. Like, my spirit knew, I felt that I would be abstinent one day. So I will always try to be abstinent, like, okay, I'm not going to have sex. And I would really, really try. The longest I would go was like 2 months, and then I would backslide and have sex again. But I understood that it wasn't time yet. And when I decided with this one guy I was dating, like, okay, Lord, I'm tired of picking the people. Like, I want to see how a relationship goes when God has his hand on it, and he's the person that the Lord has for me. Because I kept going through like the same cycles of men who were financially stable, handsome, nice cars, a lot of money, but they were cheaters and they were liars. And one thing about me, and I encourage you all to do, is take ownership. I kept saying, okay, Sadia, why are you, one, meeting the same type of person with a different name and different faces, and why are you attracted to these people? So it was something within me that kept attracting the same type of guy, and I kept getting my feelings hurt in the long run. So I said, you know what, Lord, do a work in me so I can change who I attract. And I just won't attract, like I said, they were very wealthy, nice looking, handsome, funny, well-dressed, but they were always emotionally unavailable, or they were not able to commit to just me. Like, I would be like the main person, but they would have other people on the side, unbeknownst to me. And I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I'm not okay with just being the main one. I talk in third person, y'all. I need to be the only one. Okay? So I had to take ownership because I was choosing these people. And the Holy Spirit was like, yo, it's because you're choosing them and you're not allowing God to do the work in you to heal the things that you need to heal in order to attract a godly spouse. So I said, okay, Lord, I don't want to keep going through heartbreak. At the time, I think I was 29. So when I was approaching 30, y'all, like, that's when everything just clicked. Like, I got to grow up. I was in my second master's program, and I knew soon I wanted a husband. I wanted to have kids. I just really wanted to settle down because I got my 20s worth. Okay? But I knew that I could not do it in my own strength. So I just want to let you know, like, that's not something, being abstinent is not going to be something that you can do in your own strength. So again, if you're asking God for something, he will give you, again, like I always say, the tools to help you. And I said, Lord, you created me. Literally, you created everything about me, including my sex drive. So I'm going to need you to control it. And that's exactly, y'all, what God did. But also, too, when you're abstaining from sex. So I've never just sat around tapping looking at my watch and tapping my feet waiting for a man. No. I discerned, I really answered the call to ministry. I was in Howard for 5 years. While I was there, I held certain jobs. I did certain internships, with school. I was offering pastoral care at Howard Hospital. I was doing my field education work. I was preaching, and I started working out like a lot. And that's another way I use my time, my season of just being prepared for the person that I've been praying for and I'm still praying for. And also, too, God kept me busy. So I'm saying it to say, like, when you're abstaining, like, you're going to have other things to do, or you should have other things to do. That's all I'm saying. You should not be sitting around waiting on anybody. Let's be clear. I feel like everybody's special. Everybody has a special calling or special gifts to offer the world. Not everything is ministry and clergy for everybody. This is just me. So while you're waiting or you're praying for a godly spouse, not only ask God to work on you and work on your heart, he has to work on that person's heart as well. But in your season of waiting, one, am I doing what God calls me to do? Am I living to my highest potential? Am I being the best version of myself? Am I healing childhood or relationship trauma? Those are things that take a lot of time alone to work on, that the Lord can definitely work on you while in your season of waiting. So I would say my season of waiting, I'm thankful for it because it allowed me to heal. So now, and also too, I will also say God will probably not allow you to date anybody. Or me. I just say me. Because like I said, y'all, I'm a very sexual woman. And I told the Lord, if it's not literally the man I'm supposed to marry, I don't want to date. Because, like I said, like I'm very affectionate. And most of my men like how I look, like my attributes. So they like to touch and they like to feel. And let's be clear, we're all grown. Touching and feeling leads to kissing and hugging. And kissing and hugging leads to, let's be clear. I don't want to drop the F-bomb, but it leads to penetration or intercourse. And I said, okay, I can't date. Because I know that if it's the right person and we're in a moment, I'll definitely go all the way. And that will be something I regret because I worked so hard to be abstinent. I would literally be so disappointed with them myself because I let it get to that point knowing how I am as a woman and as a sexual being. Like I said, I'm very, very highly sexual and I'm cognizant of that. And I really feel like that's the reason why the Lord has his hand on me. And like, I don't date. Do I have people who want to date me? Yes. But I don't feel that those are the people that God has. And like I said, the Holy Spirit let me know, like, he not it. So just when the Spirit lets me know, no, the Spirit will let me know, like, yes, it is. This is the person you should give a chance to. I don't think I've met that person, and I'm okay with just being under God's protection and under God's love. And I also want my husband to know in my season of waiting, because I always think of, like, what if I meet a man who has to travel a lot? He's going to know that I have sexual discipline. Like, he can go away for a week or 2 weeks, and he's going to know that I'm not going to sleep with anybody else, and I have sexual discipline because I had it before I met him. And also, too, I feel like when you're praying for a kingdom spouse, you have to be the person you're praying about. So I want a man who is practicing purity right now, who is abstinent. I don't believe abstinence is just a woman thing. I feel like men can do it if they wanted to. So I do feel that when I asked for my husband, I'm not going to say in detail what I asked for because that's between me and God, but I know I wanted to be the person I would want to marry. And I would have to embody, if I'm saying, Lord, I did ask him to be, one, have a relationship with God, two, to be honest, to be dedicated, to know what his purpose is, why he's here, and walking in it. And for him to have sexual discipline. And I felt like if I'm praying for those things, I can't do the opposite. I can't be having sex, lying, cheating, and I'm praying for this perfect man who does none of those things. No, I had to be the person I was praying about am praying for. I had to exude those qualities first. And then I know the Lord will match me. And this is how I tell you why. When I was dating and I would meet men who were emotionally unavailable, I was kind of also emotionally unavailable too. I always held back. You know, I wasn't loving myself how I do now. So I was who I was dating was a reflection of me at the time. So if I'm like, if it happens that way and that was the wrong way, how crazy would it be and healthy would it be and special it would be if I attract the right guy coming from a healthy place. And I felt like I owed it to myself to have a healthy relationship. I don't think I've ever had a healthy relationship without codependency. I don't know why I can't talk. Without codependency or without the lying, the cheating, the manipulation. When I look back on the relationships that I've had, they weren't healthy. Like, I've never got abused. Like, I've never been hit, but I want to say mentally, I've been abused. I've been with guys that tell me I want too much, or I think I'm all that, or I think I'm better than people because I have thus and so. And those things were not true. But if you hear something enough, you start to think like, well, do I act that way? And that answer was no. That was somebody else's perception because that person or certain people didn't feel like they measured up to you. It has nothing to do with you oftentimes. But I say this to say, when you praying for a kingdom spouse, you have to, one, recognize your flaws, be honest with yourself and work on them, and give God time to work on them. Like, that takes time. It took time for me to transform into this person and to allow God to do a thing in me and do a work in me. But while I was waiting, I was also working on other areas in my life. Like I said, I was in seminary, I was interning, I had jobs, I lost a lot of weight. I really got in shape because I know that God will have me do a lot of things. And I'm like, I'm going to have to be in shape because, like, I feel, although I'm called to pastor, I don't see myself just being in the church. I am very much a people person. I like to talk. I'm outgoing, and I see myself in the community, especially in the inner city where I'm from. Whether it's DC or Philly, the hood is the hood, and I'm called to the hood. I jokingly call myself the trap pastor sometimes because that's where you're going to find me. Because those people need God. They need the gospel. And I'm willing to go where most pastors won't go. So I just felt like I wanted to be in shape, one, to do God's work, and two, to be a mother. Like I said, I'm 34 and I feel like I wanted to be healthy to run around after my kids or do fun things with my kids. So I just wanted to be a healthy person, a healthy woman, to do what God calls me to do and also prepare for my babies. You know what I mean? So I've done a lot of things in my waiting season. Like I said, I finished school. I've lost the weight I wanted to lose. The Lord allowed me to treat myself to a new truck. I'm in the middle of, really starting my nonprofit. I want to start with one of the help of my childhood friends, assisting me with this matter. So I'm working in my season of waiting, and the person that God has will see me working and will see me as an asset to them instead of a liability. And that's what I want people to understand. Like, you should not just want to latch on to somebody. Like, no, be an asset to them. So when me and this person come together, it's going to be crazy because he got his own thing. I'm going to have my own thing, and it's going to be blessed by God. But I want to say what keeps me abstinent is, one, I see how far I come. And I don't never want to go back to who I used to be. But to be honest with you all, I know people from my past who I used to be friends with who have incurable STDs. That, and again, the work of the Lord, the work the Lord has done in me, those are the two things that when I get in my sexual feels, that pumps my brakes. Because one of the diseases that I know a few people have is genital herpes. And if you're a woman, that's something that, like, if you're pregnant, like, you have to have a cesarean section, a C-section, because if you have it vaginally, you will pass that disease to the baby. So that's how serious it is. And like I said, like, these are people that you would never think have anything, right? So that keeps me mindful, because this is not a time where you can have casual sex without catching something. And it's just not worth it to me. And like I said, I studied the gospel, and God has sat with me and told me how sacred sex is. And I just can't stray away from that. And when I think about the pros and cons of it, like I said, like, I'm not having sex, I'm not being exposed to STDs, unwanted pregnancies, soul ties. Like, I'm protected overall. And it's much safer not having sex than having sex for me right now. And the fact that, look how much I've accomplished, and look how far I've come, because I channeled my sexual energy somewhere else. But again, I did it with the help of the Lord. This was not me. I don't think, because sex is something that we all enjoy. Let's be clear. It's fun. If it's with the right person. It's really fun, and you can get caught up in it, So I feel like this is something that God has to help you with. But I'm telling you, if you're praying for a kingdom spouse, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be called to a season of abstinence, because these guys hold his people. Oh my gosh, I can't put into words how special they are. And he's not going to give you or me, anybody, until we're fully prepared to receive this person. Because God just doesn't love women, okay? He loves his sons too. He loves the men too. And he told me, like, you want one of mine? Okay, we got to work on you, sis, because you're not ready for one of mine. So I just learned, guys, that everything happens in divine timing. But while you're waiting, work while you're waiting. Don't just sit there and wait, because it's going to feel like forever. And if you know the story of Abraham and Sarah, if you don't know it, let me share with you. They were an old couple, wealthy, but an old couple who didn't have any children, and Abraham wanted an heir. And they were praying for Isaac. They did eventually have Isaac, though, right? However, and I did a whole sermon about this called The Waiting Room, because I talked about what happens when we pray for something we're waiting and God isn't moving fast enough, and we put our hand on it and create a big mess, and then we ask the Lord to clean it up. So while they're praying for Isaac, the Lord actually came to Abraham and said, yo, this is how I interpret God in the Bible, okay? He like, yo, I'm going to give Sarah a baby, right? Abraham like, yo, for real? And the Lord like, yeah. So Sarah overhears the conversation, and she like, baby, mind you, Sarah is like, what, like 90, like old, okay? She like, I ain't about to have no baby. Look how old I am. She laughing. So the Lord like, yo, like, what's shorty laughing at? Like, I said what I said right now. Like, what you mean? She think I can't give her a baby? Like, I'm God. Like, stop playing with me. So they were waiting for Isaac. Again, the Lord gave them a promise that they would give them a son, their own heir. So they had a maid named Hagar, and Sarah told Abraham to sleep with Hagar so they could have an heir, because basically the Lord was taking too long. So Sarah put her hand on it. When she put her hand on it, she made a big mess. So Abraham ended up sleeping with Hagar. They had Ishmael, okay? Ishmael came. Sarah became jealous. She put Ishmael and Hagar out not once but twice, okay? So she got mad at her own doing, and she started going off. But like, sis, you did this because you did not wait on the Lord, okay? So when Isaac finally came, to us, it was a long time, but to God, it was 3 minutes. It took almost 30 years for Sarah to have Isaac. But God fulfilled his promise, and that's my thing. stop worrying about God's time. And I tell that story and I preach that story. And when I actually preach it, you know, a lot of people love it because it talks about waiting, and it's hard to wait. You know, how many times, like Sarah, we put our hand in something or on something and mess it up because we think God is taking too long. When in the end, if she just would have been more patient, she would have got her son that the Lord promised anyway. And she just would have been happier in her season of waiting. So I tell that story all the time to say, don't make the same mistakes as Sarah made by not waiting on the Lord and putting our hand in it and just making a big mess. And the Lord had to come and, you know, fix it. So although Isaac was the heir, he also gave a lot of special privileges to Ishmael because of Abraham, because of who his father was. Okay? But that could have been avoided had Sarah just waited on the Lord. But I understand, like, I've put my hands on things that I've asked God for, asked God to do, because I'm like, yo, you're not moving fast enough. Or like Sarah, like, she was old. So when she heard God telling her husband he'll give her a son, like, what? Like, you want to wait till I'm 90 or old, in my old age to give me a baby? Like, please, she didn't believe it. But that's how amazing the Lord is. He'll do things. He can do things for us that are beyond belief. So I say this to say, and that teaches me a lot of things. So I'm like, if the Lord can give Sarah a baby at 90, me at 34 or 37 isn't a big deal. And it just tells me not to put my hands on something that only the Lord can do, because I'll mess it up. And how oftentimes, and I'm not saying that the bad Sarah's one of my favorites. I actually love all the women in the Bible. But I say it to say we do this all the time. And Sarah is a us. We put our hands in it, mess it up, and we like, Lord, please, can you fix this? And he like, and then guess what? He always fixes it. Did he not give Sarah the baby still? Yes. And he also took care of Ishmael because Ishmael didn't ask to be here. Okay? But I say it to say the Lord will always clean up after us. That's how loving and merciful he is. But to avoid the mistake that Sarah made, keep your hands off of the promise. So I feel as though if you're praying for a kingdom spouse, the Lord put that in you because you're supposed to be married. Not everybody is called to marriage. I don't think one is better than the other, whether you're single, whether you're married, whatever. It's not for everybody. Do I believe it's for me? Yes. Do I believe I'm called to be married? Yes. But pray and prepare for the promise. Work while you're waiting, okay? But please don't go ahead of God and jump out there and start dating or start having sex again, and you're gonna have to start all over, and you're going to feel so bad. Because, and like I said, I say with me, because it's been so long and I worked so hard on myself and I've changed so much. And anybody who knows who I used to be compared to me now know God's hand has been on my life. And I would just be so disappointed in myself. I wouldn't even blame the person because I'm accountable. I'm 34. I'm accountable for me. Okay? So I would be disappointed in myself by just throwing it all away for a few minutes or hours or however long your person can go for sex. It's just not worth it to me. And I want it to be special and sacred. And I've never looked at sex that way. I looked at it as a physical act that I just wanted to engage in because I thought the man was handsome, or I wanted to experience him, or I want him to experience me. I've never thought of it as something blessed by God. And something, because it is a blessing from God for married people, okay? But I've never looked at it like that. And I'm like, okay, now I know better. I have to do better, especially in clergy. But like I said, you don't have to be in clergy to abstain. I'm just saying, if you're asking God for one of his daughters and one of his sons, I highly believe that he's going to call you out of engaging in meaningless sex. I'm just giving you tips on how to be abstinent in a world that revolves around sex. It gets hard sometimes, I understand, but you gotta know, like, is it worth it? Is it worth you having a baby by somebody that you don't even love or like? Is it worth you getting an incurable STD that you're going to have for the rest of your life that can make you infertile? No, it's not worth it to me, and it shouldn't be worth it to you either. Like, think about how special it would be and how fun it would be when you meet the person that God has. Because, honey, I know with this man, I'm going to let loose. It's been going on 5 years. That man ain't going to have a chance to eat or drink or sleep without me being all over him, okay? But that's going to be my husband, so it's going to be different. And it's going to be blessed by God. But I just want to encourage you all. You can do it. I'm here to support you. Like I said, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think or just how I can help in this, just being abstinent, and just encourage you every day to just keep going. And even if you were abstinent, you had sex again, it's okay. Start over. Repent. Ask God to really, really help you in that area. Notice your weakness. You might not be able to date like me if you can't say no to sex. Like I said, I can't say, I know I won't be able to, tell a man no if he's continued to kiss on me and touch me and, do all the things I like. But if you have been abstinent and you slipped up or decided to have sex and you want to be abstinent again, you can come back. Don't be hard on yourself. Like I told you, it happened to me before I really got serious with God and before I really cried out, like, help me, because I do want a healthy, godly relationship. And when I got serious about it, y'all, he helped me, and he'll help you too. So don't be hard on yourself. Again, like I said, like, we're all taking this journey through life. We're learning, and learning is making mistakes. And we're still young. We're going to always, I feel like, evolve spiritually and as people. But just be patient with yourself. Just be patient with your journey. But just also know that you're special. And if you're praying for a godly spouse, they're special and important to God. And also, too, this is a whole nother person that the Lord has to work on. So it's not just about you. He's working on you, but he's working on this person, too, because they have their own flaws and shortcomings. And I'll say this. Nobody's perfect, but the person God has will be perfect for you. And everybody has their baggage, but it's what you're willing to help them unpack. But I hope this video blessed you. I hope this video encouraged you. And I hope that if you're not abstinent, I encourage you to join us. If you are abstinent, I'm fighting this fight with you. If you go in and out, I'm still fighting this fight with you. Just get back on track. As long as you got breath in your body, you're waking up every day, get back on track. But just know that God loves you. God is patient. And just work in your waiting season and prepare for the promise. I'm sending you guys love and light until my next video, and I hope you have a good night.